Welcome to Mishnah study Masechet Eduyot. Masechet Eduyot is a Masechet which speaks about testimonies. Historically, after the Churban Habayit, after the destruction of the second Bet Mikdash, the Sanhedrin moved to Yavne, right, called Kerev Meyavne. And while they were there, they sought to preserve many halachot through testimonies of people that would come and testify what they remember being seen in the Bet Mikdash when they were living in Yerushalayim, etc. And Hachamim gathered all these halachot, mainly centered around Tum'ah and Tahara, laws of the Bet Mikdash. And as they testify, they gather them in this Masechet over here, and even codified called it Masechet Bechirata, right? The chosenness, right? It's so chosen because the halachot, right? Almost every Mishnah over here, we're going to be posek halacha like the people who testify and speak to what they remember seeing in the times of the Bet Mikdash. So we're going to jump in. These halachot, these Mishnayot, are very much not connected one to another, right? There's no running theme throughout the Masechet, which makes it one of the harder Masechtot to study. But what's really valuable and interesting is each one of these is a testimony, and we'll see. Well, really leads into testimonies and is really selected as halacha. It's codified as halacha. So first, we're going to speak about a woman who's nida. So in general, a woman who's nida, anything she touches, right, becomes tameh. Right? If she touches, foods, they become tameh. And there's a ritual impurity associated with this woman. And our Mishnah discusses if someone was touching, right, certain things. Okay, she was touching taharot, right, things that were tahor, and when she touches them, she would make them tameh, right? If she's nida. Now she's touching them, all these different things, and afterwards she checks herself and she sees that she became nida. What about everything that she touched beforehand? Do we assume that she was nida when she touched these taharot as well and made them tameh? Or, right, could we say that no, this is when she checked, from here on anything she checks is tameh, but before she knew about her tumah, anything she touched would stay tahor. That's going to be the machloket our Mishnah between Shammai and Hillel. So Shammai Hillel, kol hanashim dayan sha'atan. According to Shammai, all women dayan sha'atan, right? Whenever you know, whenever they from the time of they begin to menstruate, that time when they discover, right, that they became nida, that's when anything she touches from here on out is tameh. Okay, that's din Torah, also midoraita. Hillel over here is mahmir, right? Interesting. Hillel himself, not Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel, by the way, it's Shammai and Hillel themselves. Hillel is mahmir, mipkida afilu le'amir hanbeh, right? From the last time she checked. Okay, let's say the last time she checked was on Sunday. Okay, she checked herself on Sunday to make sure she wasn't tameh, and she was, touching all these different taharot until, let's say, Thursday. Now she checks again on Thursday, and she finds herself to be temeah. Okay, so anything that she touched from the taharot since Sunday, since her last checking, is going to be tameh for the past few days. Okay, retroactively, we're going to say they're all tameh. And Chachamim have a compromised opinion over here. Chachamim omrim, lo k'divrei zeh v'lo k'divrei zeh. Oh, by the way, why does Shammai, and Rambam points out, why does Shammai say no? Shammai says no, from the time that she checks, that's it. From that, and anything from that Thursday on is going to be tameh. So he loves, backdating it to Sunday. Shammai, right, don't take this chumrah, right? They stick to din Torah because of bitul priya v'rivya, right? Because if we say that she's tameh from the last time she checked, right, people are going to be hesitant around their wives, and they're going to be mevatel from priya v'rivya, and because they worry that she may be sefik tameh, right? So Shammai don't make this, right? Don't make this gezerah. Chamim omrim lo k'divrei zeh, lo k'divrei zeh. They say, no, neither one, neither of these opinions, both of them are too extreme. Ela me'ed le'ed mema'etet al yad mipkida lepkida, mipkida lepkida mema'etet al yad me'ed le'ed. We're going to take the closer of the two, right? Either the last time she checked, or me'ed le'ed, which is 24 hours earlier. Okay, so let's say she knows she can check on Sunday, next time she checks is on Thursday, right? Taking that same thing. She finds out that she's in Nida on Thursday. So we're not going to say all the taharot, till last Sunday are going to be tameh. Rather, we're going to say the last 24 hours are going to be tameh. Now, if she checked 6 hours ago, we're not going to say the last 24 hours. We'll say only the last 6 hours are tameh. Okay, so whatever is sooner, right? Whichever is closer to when she found herself to be nida, her last check or a 24-hour period, that's when we're going to say all the taharot that she touched within that time frame are going to be tameh, and anything before that would be tahor. Any woman who has a veset, right, who has a set menstrual cycle, let's say she sees her period every 30 days, like clockwork, okay, we could assume that when she saw the nida on, then that's when she's tameh. We don't have to, count 24 hours earlier or from the last checking, okay? Because we assume that she gets her period in her regular time, in a regular menstrual cycle. So we don't have to assume that anything else that she touched earlier was tameh. והמשמשת בעידים, עידים are cloths, okay? So it sounds like from here that if someone uses cloths, right, before intercourse, Harambam says no. According to Harambam, it's a halacha, right, that after a husband and wife sleep together, that the woman needs to check to make sure well, really they, right? Both of them really need to check. Both of them need to check after they sleep together to make sure that she didn't become nida, right, from the intercourse. And according to Harambam, this needs to be done always. Okay? Halacha is not like Harambam over here. Rather, Shulchan Aruch is posek like the Rif, that only the first 3 times, right, that a husband and wife sleep together, right, after the dam betulim is gone, they both need to check to make sure that they don't have called dam hamat hashmish, to make sure that she's not becoming nida from sleeping together, from the intercourse. So the first 3 times after they're married, they would need to check this, and then it's a chazakah that it doesn't happen anymore. That's how Shulchan Aruch is posek like L'riv, not like Harambam over here, but according to Harambam, right? A man and woman, after they sleep together, would have to check, with cloths to make sure they're not nida. Now, if when they did check over here, that would count as a checking. It counts as a pikida, right? If she would go ahead and touch harot, afterwards, we're not going to say, oh, this check didn't count, and it goes. You have to, go back to her last check when it wasn't involved with sleeping with the husband. No, this would count as a regular check, and it would limit, right, the tumah passing to these taharot, and right, that's specific to mishameshet be'idim after tashmish. Ramban points out though, if she was to check before tashmish, because some people would check, even though this is not a chobah, it's not obligatory, if they would check before sleeping together, that would not be enough, right, to count as a check for taharot, because people aren't as careful, right, because they're ta'ava. For the tashmish, they're not as careful, so it wouldn't count as a real check. Right, this would, limit, like we said, to either the close within 24 hours or within the last checking. This would count as a real check in regards to this. Halacha is like Chachamim, right? So halacha is like Chachamim that when a woman comes and she finds herself nida, anything she touched within the last 24 hours is tameh, unless she made a check within those 24 hours, which would limit anything until her last check to becoming tameh.